Jason Redman is a retired Navy SEAL. He's now a speaker, a coach, and author of the book, The Trident. He served in South America, Afghanistan, and Iraq, where he was shot 3 times. Jason, we know Mullen's death is under investigation, but another trainee is still in the hospital. You've been through Hell Week. Help us understand just how grueling it can be. Walk us through a typical day.
Yeah, Anna, thanks so much for having me on. And first off, once again, just want to say my deepest condolences to the Mullen family. Obviously, going through SEAL training is incredibly difficult, and for him to have made it through Hell Week and not be here, just thoughts and prayers. Hell Week is the biggest crucible of SEAL training, and it is designed to be the ultimate test of an individual's mettle, their commitment, their ability to endure massive pain, discomfort, sleepless nights. Really to say there is a day in Hell Week is a little bit of a misnomer, because the timeline really doesn't stop. You don't have a morning and a night and then a little bit of downtime. During Hell Week, you will only get about, on average, 3 hours of sleep. And those 3 hours of sleep are spaced out at different times. You may earn a little bit of sleep by winning a race. But typically from that time, from Sunday afternoon all the way until Friday afternoon, you are going nonstop. You are carrying around, your boat crew is carrying around about a 300-pound rubber boat, an inflatable boat small on your head everywhere you go. The average student or the average class will cover about 200 miles during Hell Week, running around with that boat on their head. You will row countless miles out in the San Diego Bay and off the coast of California. You will do surf passage, you will do rock portage, where you're taking your boat up over rocks and heavy surf. You're still doing evolutions, you're doing the obstacle course, you're doing surf immersion or surf therapy training, where you sit in the ocean for long periods of time with your classmates and dealing with the cold, dealing with the sand. You'll do complicated problems as a class, so it's building teamwork, but you're navigating through. And then it culminates with, obviously, some of the evolutions on Friday that simulate a little bit of a combat environment, that final crucible after guys have been awake, tired, physically, mentally, emotionally exhausted, and that final crucible before typically Hell Week is secured.
Wow. Wow. You described so much, and I appreciate that. When you think back to your Hell Week, what stands out most to you? What was the most challenging task or exercise you had to complete?
So for me, it would be Thursday night. And I'll be honest, it's very rare that students quit towards the end of the week. You really have the majority of the students that quit, and make no mistake, almost 80% of the class quits during Hell Week. And for me, we had been told, or I had been told by a buddy, hey, if you make it till Thursday night, or if you make it to Wednesday morning, it gets easier. And Thursday night was my hardest night of Hell Week. The temperature in San Diego, I went through in March of '95. The temperature in San Diego had really dropped into the high 40s. And we just continued, myself and my boat crew continued to fail at some of the evolutions we were doing, some of the races. And I will never forget, at one point in the middle of the night, I'm standing on top of a 10-meter dive platform with my arms out, and the wind's whipping off the San Diego Bay at about 30 knots. I'm freezing, and I remember my buddy's words, make it to Wednesday morning, it'll get easier. And I was like, I'm going to quit.
Oh,
and thankfully, I did not. I realized if I quit, I wouldn't make it through training, so I sucked it up and made it through.
Oh, just so much grit there. I only have about 30 seconds before I have to hand it off, but do you think there's any way to make this training safer?
You know, I think they do an amazing job making this training as safe as possible. And unfortunately, there's always a balance that we must have between training to the highest levels. Combat is incredibly hard. I owe my life to many of the foundations that SEAL training put, that overcome mindset, to be shot, to be bleeding out, to be in an intense firefight. It's built in SEAL training. We put tremendous safeguards in place. I know that the instructors and the staff did a great job. I hate what happened to Seaman Mullen, but I know for a fact that the medical assessments they do multiple a day during Hell Week. And I know if they had seen anything, they would have taken care of it in that moment. They would have even possibly pulled Seaman Mullen before training ended if there was anything that they saw he was in medical duress or they had any deep concerns.
Jason Redman, I really appreciate your insights. Thank you for spending time with us today.
Ana, thank you for having me.